Go from light to dark. If you start really dark, it's hard to go backwards. Okay, no matter how much gouache you have, it's hard to go backwards. I notice a lot of you, if the stuff you start out really dark, you should start it really light and layer it.
And you can take it off if you're too dark.
You can also wet it and dab it off, right? It's not. It's like fixing your photo in Photoshop. It's not the ideal, but it works. Yep. All this stuff is experience, and you will learn by doing, by practicing, right? Right. Okay, here's a little bit of refinement, nothing much, a little bit darker details. Refining simply means making the lights and darks a little bit more prominent, so it now begins to look a little more three-dimensional. I think I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. Oh, yeah. Okay. That's it. You're done. Okay? That's 10 minutes. 10, 12 minutes. I don't know if we even spent 10. We spent 9 minutes on that. Okay, in your handout, you have this, and you have this. So you can do it. Okay? Here. I'll post this. Here's this. Ad nauseum, but
I'll just put it up back here.
just put it up back there. And you do this, and you do this, and you do this, and you do this, and pretty soon you're very good at it. Okay? You're very good at it. And you need to be your own worst critic, you know. So can't do it. My experience with this is you'll start out too dark and then you can't, it's hard to go backwards. Just be patient, start out lighter, 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 and just build it up until it starts looking, yeah, here. Yeah, that's fine, here. No, it's a process. This table's good. Yeah, here. See? Yeah, see? She's not worried about, she just get it on paper, get it done, you know.
See?
Everybody's, yeah. Okay. You can do this. Okay? You can all do this. But only if you do it. Right? If you come back next week, oh, I didn't get around to doing that. You won't be any better than you are this week.
Do you have any tips on what? They had this pretty whack. They wet on wet.
You gotta get it really wet. You gotta, with the salt. I know.
What is it for wash
Try some more. You just gotta keep playing with it until you. Okay, everybody. All right, Sue now has a.
Sort of a little demonstration.
She's got a demonstration. You can turn the lights. We have the lights are on.
Yes.
Here we go. I'm going to open the windows here so you can see what's going on.
I have no PowerPoint for my demonstration. I think so. I'm fine. I think everybody can see their stuff. I guess. For my demonstration, you're going to need the piece of paper that has the holes. And look, it already has things stamped on the paper for you. In case you're, you just can't draw today or something.
We don't waste time drawing.
I don't want watercolor pencil in front of you. This is just a little demonstration about how to use watercolor pencil. It sort of combines colored pencil and watercolor into one happy package. If you look at the watercolor pencil, one of the first things you're going to notice on the pencil is it says watercolor somewhere, whereas on your other color pencils it does not say watercolor. So I've not tried adding water to other color pencils, but I don't think it works very well.
Water and wax don't.
I'm thinking it doesn't work very well. Remember what Michael said about paper? The same thing applies using watercolor paper. Although you could use watercolor pencil in your regular journal book if you didn't want to add water to it, or if you just really added a light wash. Brushes, the only other supplies you might need are some brushes, talked about that, a container for your water, tissues or towels, and you notice there's towels or paper towels, and again, a hair dryer. Something else I use with my watercolor pencils, if I want to add some detail afterwards, is a waterproof little marker. That way you can add, some lines if you want. And in this journal book that I do, I also use waterproof pen, so that when I add water over it, it doesn't run. So those might be some extra things you might like.
You can also use saliva if you're.
I'm not a big spit on my paper kind of gal, so
Yeah.
the man thing. So basically, what I'd like you to do is just kind of play with these watercolor pencils. And some of the things you can do is take the pencil and at the side of maybe where your picture is, just take the pencil and do like a light scribbling just to see how the pencil and water react. Get your brush wet and then run that over the pencil just to see how it is. Otherwise, the reason I gave you already stamped designs, go ahead and take the pencil, color it in, add some water. You can use your watercolor pencil in several different ways. You can do dry, just go ahead and color your object. You can wet your pencil and then color the object, and that's going to give you a really bold color. You can wet the paper and color. So you could do wet paper, dry pencil. You could do wet paper, wet pencil, dry paper, wet pencil. There's 3 or 4 different combinations you can do. So just go ahead and practice. You can blend with your watercolor pencils just like you blend with regular color pencils. Watercolor pencils do not come in as many colors as the Prismacolor pencils. I believe 72 is about as many as you can get with watercolor pencils. So,
Do you care what color we make these birds and things?
this is your thing, your imagination.
This one you have to think in 2 dimensions. You're thinking color pencil and then
Adding water.
wetting it, so it's going to
And
change
it
the
doesn't matter.
effect.
If you want a really bold, just go ahead and you can make a bold line. The lighter the wash you give something, the more of your pencil lines will show. So if you want to get rid of all the pencil lines, you're going to give it a really, really heavy water wash. You can also use the watercolor pencils much like paint, where you could first scribble the color on paper and then wet your brush and dab it into the color and then dab it into the picture you want to do.
This is a very forgiving medium. It's easier than watercolor pencil or watercolor together. Because everything, see? So every variable you remove from your brain makes it easier, so you don't have to worry about the shape. You're not worried about, all of a sudden everyone's. Both is good. You can jump back and forth. That's, we're giving you these one at a time. Doesn't mean you can't use them all. But I hope what this illustrates is how important the shape is. Right? Some of you struggle with the lady beetles because you didn't get the shape right.
That's why I gave you pre-stamped
That's
paper.
why we spent last week on shapes. We're not done with shapes, but
And like your colored pen, with your colored pencils, sometimes you might want your pencils really sharp. These can be dull, and it's no problem. It doesn't have to be really sharp. Just depends on your preferences.
and when you're practicing, it helps to be systematic, like your name, but she's very systematic, so everything is labeled nice, so you can use these as reference sheets. Here's another one. These become your reference sheets. Okay, these little, that's all they are, is your reference sheets on techniques.
I have a little reference sheet, a couple reference sheets I made. I'll put those back with Mike in my demonstration. And then I have my small journal that I've been doing is all just different watercolor pencil.
Do you have the little punch with you?
I brought the punch and I'll put it, I guess, on that back table so people can use the punch. Thanks for reminding me.
Oh, by the way, Michael, we're going to buy you guys a punch here. So it'll be at the museum,
Awesome.
Like a party gift.
parting gift. So those of you that wanted to, are part of the Imaquan tour can come here and, well, maybe we'll put it at the front desk or something. Maybe that's it.
Have a punch.
You don't want to get 800 phone calls. Can we buy a punch? She'll want to raise those like that. More duties.
Very nicely done.
I'll put the punch at the back table, your treasure boxes to pick up are at the back table, and there's also extra watercolor paper at the back table.
The treasure box. Screws and stuff, nails and screws and stuff. And, yeah, and they want you to choose everything. Yeah, make sure that you date and place and direction.
The other thing you can do is if you, when you buy watercolor paper and it doesn't fit in your notebook, you cut it down in size, you get these little strips, simply put a, then you've got a little practice techniques on. You know, if you don't know exactly what you want to do, you can scribble on. These are very valuable, you can just throw in your pocket.
You can also use them to mix colors with your watercolor
Yeah,
pencils.
that's what I mean, it's just practice for.
I know.
Okay, between now and quarter till 11 is your break. So finish this up, have your break time, and then back here at quarter till.
If people want to see me about their shirts, I have those over there, and I have how much everybody owes. So
Can also do that at lunch.
we can do that at lunch, we can do that before you leave. Checks to the
We only
University,
accept old bullion.
University of Illinois.
Yeah, pirate, I want to be a pirate.